Let me ask you something a little personal. When you look in the mirror these days, do you ever catch yourself wondering, when did I start looking so tired? You don't feel tired, not at all. In fact, deep inside, there's still so much spark. You still laugh freely, move with purpose, and carry within you decades of wisdom and beauty. But somehow what stares back at you doesn't quite match how you feel. Maybe the skin looks a little duller than it used to. Maybe your eyes feel less defined, or your hair isn't as full as it once was. And it's frustrating, especially when you've done everything right. You've used the creams, the serums, the skincare routines with a dozen steps. You've eaten well, stayed active. But still, something feels like it's quietly slipping away. And here's the thing most people won't tell you. Aging isn't a loss, it's a shift, a season. But in that shift, we can either surrender or we can evolve. And today I want to invite you to evolve with grace, intention, and a little help from within. Because what if the secret to looking younger, more vibrant, and more alive didn't come in a fancy jar or an expensive facial? What if the glow you're missing isn't something you apply on your face, but something your body is quietly asking for on the inside? In this video, we're going to explore something surprisingly simple, but incredibly powerful. 3 vitamins that most older women have never been told about. They're not new. They're not part of the latest trend. But they are backed by science and praised quietly by women who've rediscovered what it means to feel radiant again. These are not miracle pills. They're simply the nutrients your skin, hair, and energy have been quietly craving, vitamins that work with your body, not against it. And by the end of this story, you'll not only know what they are, but why they matter so much after 60. If you're watching this and thinking of someone, a sister, a friend, a mother who could use this encouragement, I invite you to share this video with her. Sometimes a simple conversation can change the way we see ourselves again. Let me take you on a little journey. Imagine someone like Susan. She's 67, retired from a job she loved. Still active, still social. She has her morning walks, her afternoon tea chats with friends, her late night FaceTimes with grandkids. From the outside, she's doing well. But every now and then, she catches her reflection in the window and pauses. She sees a version of herself that feels unfamiliar. Not old exactly, but dimmer. Her skin has lost that bounce. Her eyes, once full of sparkle, now carry a soft shadow, and her hair, it feels thinner, more fragile. Now Susan is not someone chasing youth. She doesn't want to be 30 again, but she misses something, a kind of inner radiance, a confidence that used to shine without effort. So like many women, she tried to get it back. Bought the expensive cream, switched to a collagen drink, booked a facial on her birthday, but nothing really changed, not deeply. That tired look was still there, whispering in the mirror each morning. And then something shifted. Over coffee one day, she ran into an old friend from her college days, a woman who, as it turned out, had become a nutritionist. They talked, laughed, shared updates, and then Susan admitted her quiet frustration, that she felt great inside but couldn't understand why she looked so worn out. Her friend smiled gently and said, "Susan, you're treating the outside, but real change starts inside." That one sentence lingered. It felt like someone had reached in and turned on a light. Her friend explained something that most women never hear from skincare ads or social media influencers. As we age, our bodies stop absorbing certain key nutrients the way they used to. Even if you eat a healthy diet, certain vitamins don't get into your system like they once did. And these nutrients, they directly affect the glow of your skin, the strength of your hair, the sparkle in your eyes. They are the building blocks of radiance, the quiet engines of repair. Susan, curious and open, decided to try something different. No big life changes, just a couple of capsules each morning with her tea. She didn't expect a miracle. But 6 weeks later, her walking partner asked, "What's your secret? You're glowing today." Her neighbor stopped her to say her skin looked different, brighter, smoother, and Susan just smiled because she hadn't changed her makeup. She hadn't done anything radical. She had simply nourished herself in a way she never knew she needed. And if you're still with me right now, maybe you're a little like Susan. Maybe you feel youthful inside, but wish your reflection felt more aligned with that feeling. Maybe you're wondering what those vitamins were. We'll get there. But before I share them, I want you to know something important. This isn't about erasing wrinkles or pretending we're younger than we are. It's about reclaiming the glow that belongs to every stage of life. It's about walking through your day and having people say, "Not, you look young, but you look alive. You look well, you look like you." That's what these vitamins support, not a version of you from the past, but the most luminous version of you right now today. So take a breath with me, because what's coming next could quietly transform not just your skin or your hair, but the way you feel in your own body. And that kind of shift, it radiates. The first change Susan noticed wasn't in the mirror. It was in how she felt when she woke up. There was a lightness in her limbs, a clarity in her face, a sense that her body was catching up. A few days later, she ran her fingers through her hair and realized it didn't feel as brittle. Her skin a little less dry, a little more dewy, not dramatic, but unmistakable, like a long-lost friend quietly returning home. The friend who had guided her through this change had mentioned one particular vitamin 1 that almost no one talks about when it comes to beauty or glow, and yet it was the first domino to fall. Its name, vitamin K2. Now, chances are you've heard of vitamin K. Most people associate it with blood clotting. That's vitamin K1. But K2, well, it plays a completely different role. One that becomes more important with each year we add to our lives. Think of it as a traffic director for calcium. It tells calcium where to go, and more importantly, where not to go. Without enough K2, calcium can build up in places it shouldn't, like the walls of your arteries, and even in your skin. That buildup makes tissue stiffer, tighter, older. But when K2 is present, it gently helps guide that calcium back to the bones where it belongs. The result, not just stronger bones, but smoother skin, softer texture, a return of elasticity. In one quiet shift, Susan's skin began to feel less paper thin and more like it used to, full of bounce and resilience. And perhaps most surprisingly, her circulation improved. Her cheeks had more color. Her eyes felt brighter, as if the body, given the right key, had unlocked a forgotten rhythm. What amazed her even more was how little of this was being talked about. K2 isn't common in most Western diets. It hides quietly in fermented foods like natto, a Japanese dish most people haven't tasted, or in grass-fed cheeses and certain egg yolks. But even then, the amounts are small. For women over 60 who already absorb nutrients less efficiently, getting enough K2 from food alone is nearly impossible. That's why Susan's friend suggested a daily supplement. Nothing exotic, just a clean source of K2 in its most absorbable form, known as MK7, 1 capsule a day. That was it. But that one act of nourishment helped shift the way her skin aged. Not by fighting against time, but by supporting the processes her body still wanted to do, just needed help with. And now I want you to pause for a moment. If you're still watching this video, thank you. That says something about you. It tells me you're curious, thoughtful, and not ready to give up on the version of yourself you know is still in there. So let me ask you, what if just one small shift could bring your natural glow back? Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. What if your skin isn't tired, it's just underfed? That question led Susan to discover the second key. This one sounded almost made up when she first heard it. It had a name that sounded like something from science fiction, astaxanthin. But behind the name was something powerful, a nutrient that's been quietly revolutionizing how we think about skin aging. And Susan, she was about to experience it firsthand. Her nutritionist friend described it this way: it's like a bodyguard for your skin. Every single day, your body is under quiet attack from the sun, from pollution, from stress. All of those things create tiny unstable molecules called free radicals. Left unchecked, they damage skin cells, break down collagen, and leave you looking older than you feel. Astaxanthin steps in like a shield. It's one of the most powerful natural antioxidants we've discovered, hundreds of times stronger than vitamin E, thousands of times more effective than vitamin C when it comes to protecting the skin. Susan began taking just a small dose each morning, a few milligrams, nothing extreme. And over the next few weeks, the dark spots on her cheek began to lighten, the fine lines near her eyes softer. Her skin didn't just look better, it felt calmer, less reactive, more alive. Her walking buddy noticed first, "You look rested." She said, "Did you change your pillowcase?" They both laughed, but the truth was, Susan hadn't changed her routine at all, except for one tiny red capsule each day. And the most beautiful part, astaxanthin didn't just work on her skin. It made her eyes clearer. helped protect her from the sun when she was out in the garden, and gave her the quiet confidence that something inside her was working with time, not against it. This wasn't about vanity anymore. It was about dignity, about honoring the woman she was becoming with the same love and care she once gave her younger self. And that leads us to the third vitamin, the one she almost dismissed as too basic, too simple, too common. But oh, how wrong she was. We'll get to that in the next part. But for now, I want you to sit with this. Sometimes beauty isn't about adding more. It's about giving your body what it's been quietly asking for all along. Sometimes the glow we're missing isn't hiding in the mirror. It's waiting in the smallest choices we make in the quiet mornings, with tea and the commitment to nourish ourselves gently one day at a time. Susan didn't expect the third vitamin to be the one that brought everything together. It sounded too familiar, too ordinary. The kind of thing you hear about in passing and file away as something that probably helps, but not in a noticeable way. But the deeper she looked, the more she realized that sometimes the simplest nutrients are the ones we overlook the most, especially when they've been with us all along. This one was biotin, also known as vitamin B7. Biotin is like the quiet friend in the background, the one you didn't notice was holding everything together until one day things began to fall apart. For Susan, that unraveling started with her hair. Once full and strong, it had grown thinner over the years. Not all at once, just gradually. A few more strands on the brush, a little more scalp visible in the mirror. Then her nails, once tough and reliable, began splitting at the edges, and her skin dry flaky, no matter how much moisturizer she applied. At first, she blamed the weather, then maybe hormones or just aging. But her friend smiled again and reminded her, your body can't make what it no longer absorbs. And biotin. It's one of the first things to quietly slip away. What Susan learned changed everything. Biotin plays a critical role in creating keratin, the protein that forms the foundation of hair, skin, and nails. Without it, hair becomes brittle, skin loses texture, nails chip easily. And while biotin exists in healthy foods like eggs, almonds, sweet potatoes, it's often not enough after 60. The gut changes, absorption slows, and what once was simple now becomes essential. So she added it in, just a low, steady dose. No promises, no hype, just consistency. And within a few months, she noticed something small but powerful. Her nails didn't break when she opened a can. Her hands felt smoother, her hair thinner. Yes, but with a new softness and strength that made her smile. And perhaps the most beautiful shift of all, she didn't just look younger. She felt capable again, because it's not just about beauty, it's about what beauty represents: resilience, health, self-respect. When Susan ran her fingers through her hair, now it wasn't vanity. It was affirmation that she still cared, that she still deserved to feel like herself, that even in her late 60s, even after the noise of trends and the silence of being overlooked, she still had the power to nurture herself into vitality. And maybe you do too. If you're still watching, maybe something inside you recognizes that truth. That aging is not a disappearance, but a transformation. That glow isn't a memory, it's a message. That what we feed our bodies feeds our spirits. And when we care for ourselves with intention not to look younger, but to feel alive, something extraordinary happens. People notice. But more importantly, you notice. You begin to walk differently, sleep deeper, smile softer. Not because the mirror says something new, but because you do. Because your energy returns. Because you're no longer waiting for permission to feel beautiful, you're claiming it. These three vitamins, K2, astaxanthin, and biotin, they aren't magical, they're natural, backed by science, rooted in care. And when combined with daily rituals of hydration, rest, good food, and a bit of sunlight on your face, they do more than soften fine lines. They soften the way you see yourself. They reconnect you with the woman who's still growing, still glowing, still evolving. So let me leave you with this. You are not here to fade quietly. You are not defined by a number or a wrinkle or the size of your waistband. You are here to take up space, to shine, to walk into every room, every stage of your life with that subtle, unmistakable confidence that says, I know who I am and I love her. If this video gave you even one small reason to smile or reflect, I hope you'll share it with someone you care about, a sister, a neighbor, a daughter, a friend. Because the truth is, women don't hear this enough and we deserve to. Every week on this channel, we share real practical ways to age with strength, softness, and wisdom. If you haven't already, you can subscribe and hit the bell to stay connected. You belong here. Now tell me in the comments, what's one small thing you'll do today to nourish yourself? Let's cheer each other on because aging beautifully. That's not a wish, it's a choice. And it starts with you.